Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is the final request for Guillermo. Thank you so much for your patience and your generosity, Guillermo. I hope you're doing well, and thank you. I hope you enjoy these videos. I hope so. But for anyone that wants to request any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough, movie review, re-review, random thoughts, tier list, whatever the case, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to them as soon as I possibly can. And this is for the film Fight or Flight, which came out this year. What was it, from Sky? I never even heard of the platform, the company that this came out of. And it stars Josh Hartnett. Now, I like Josh Hartnett. I liked him ever since I saw him in The Faculty. I liked him in Halloween H2O. Didn't mind him in the bit part in Sin City, among other stuff. He was not the issue with the film Trap. It was the fact that M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong made it and wrote it and directed it and made his fucking daughter. He put his fucking daughter as the star and big old heap of nepotism. But Josh Hartnett wasn't the problem. But it was everything else was terrible. But I liked Josh Hartnett. And he gets to be an action hero in this movie. And this was a lot of fun. It does have its flaws. But this is pretty much Bullet Train, but if it's on a plane. So, Bullet Plane. But that's really what this is. If you take the movie Bullet Train, but what if it was on a plane? You have the one setting where there's a bunch of assassins. You have the guy that's kind of, in a way, manipulated into being in this setting to do this job. But then there's a bunch of assassins on that very same setting. And you have the quirky sense of humor, some fun action sequences, fight sequences. I would say Bullet Train maybe has a little bit more polish because of the director who did Deadpool 2 and other stuff. But this was a lot of fun, though. This was fun. I did quite enjoy this. It does help that I really like Josh Hartnett. It was cool to see him in this type of movie. I think that does help. It was also cool to see Katee Sackhoff, who was in Battlestar Galactica. Not the old one back in the day, but the ones in the 2000s or so. So the setup is there's this hacker named the Ghost. And this hacker seems to be a terrorist going after certain places. And this group, which Katee Sackhoff is the head of it, they have to figure out how to get this hacker. Well, they realize that the hacker is hurt, and while they can't find the identity, they know that the trail of the hacker is towards this airport, and a plane that seems like it will go to San Francisco. And they're in, I think, Bangkok. They're like, well, who do we have? We don't have anybody. And Katee Sackhoff goes, well, there may be one guy. And that is Josh Hartnett's character. Josh Hartnett, like any hero, wakes up, someone tries to steal his shit. I'll give you the money, just give me your cigarette. Smokes a cigarette. So, kind of your classic opening style bit. Not quite the Last Boy Scout where he wonders if he fucked a squirrel to death, but, still there. And there is at least one scene that is a big ode to the Last Boy Scout, which I didn't mind. I mean, you don't make an ode to a film, do the Last Boy Scout. At least that's one that deserves to be mentioned more. Some would say a ripoff, which I just see that, but I mean, I don't know, it just didn't bother me. But anyway, he gets a call from Katee Sackhoff, and he goes, what the fuck, really? Like, you've abandoned me? I'm on the run because of bullshit that happened, and After 2 years, now you call me? How about you take those balls of yours and go fuck yourself? So I thought Josh Hartnett gave a very fun, energetic performance. Eventually, he says yes because the promise of if you get this hacker and take this hacker off the plane, everything will be fine and dandy. He's like, fine, okay. Gets on the plane, you find out there's a lot of assassins on board. So he's got to fend off the assassins, he's got to find out who the hacker is, and go from there. So, yes, it's similar to Bullet Train, but it's still a fun premise to me. It's still an entertaining premise to me. With an actor I like, who's very likable and fun in the role. It does have that quirky sense of humor. For example, when he leaves the bar and he gets in a taxi, he's got blood on him. The guy's like, wet wipes? Just stares, it cuts away, then you see that he's cleaned himself up. So I thought that was fun. The people that he sees, I've seen this guy before, Marko Zaror. He's a martial artist. I know Scott Adkins interviewed him on The Art of Action, and he's been in other stuff. I thought for a big role that he has as this guy who's really into dance, and he's sitting next to Josh Hartnett, and he's kind of the first guy Josh has to deal with. I thought that stuff was fun. And before I give spoilers, like I say, it's not the most original movie. I keep repeating the film Bullet Train. There's even a bit where you find out this backstory of Josh Hartnett where he was a Secret Service agent, and the person he's looking after, he's a woman beater, in this case a hooker. He goes in, beats the fuck out of the guy, much like the backstory of The Last Boy Scout. In fact, part of me is like, I wonder if this was like back in the 80s, I wonder if foreign sales would call this The Last Boy Scout 2. I just see that. Where they had like, this is Evil Dead 4, or Alien 2 on Earth. They put this, The Last Boy Scout Part 2. I mean, I've seen weirder. So yeah, that's very reminiscent to The Last Boy Scout. And yes, The Last Boy Scout is better than this movie. Last Boy Scout is one of the most underrated action films of the 90s. Last Boy Scout is fucking awesome. Deserves a better edition. But sadly, Tony Scott passed away. Bruce Willis, like, no one liked that film. No one liked working on that film. Bruce Willis is now sadly far gone. Damon Wayans would never talk about it. So I think even the villain, I forget his name, he passed away. And I mean, Danielle Harris, yes, you do talk to her. But yeah, anyway. Such an underrated film. But back to this. It's just a fun movie, though. I mean, God, I wanted to explain them, but there was a nice surprise seeing it. That's why. The person you find is the hacker. I didn't mind that person. I thought that person did a pretty decent job acting. Josh Hartnett was good in the moves and the fight scenes. Someone mentioned shaky cam. I mean, the camera moves, but when I think of shaky cam, I think of scenes where I cannot understand what the fuck's going on. Like the later Born Identity films, Taken 2, Taken 3, Columbiana. That's what I think of shaky cam. To me, there's a frenzy, but I understood what was going on. I perfectly understood what was going on. I wasn't confused or anything, so the camera moves, but I wouldn't call it terrible shaky cam like those other movies I mentioned. I'm not getting a spoiler starting now. All I can say is I thought this was a very fun film. It's easily one of my favorite films of this year. It's probably my second favorite film this year after Magazine Dreams. I'd have to watch it again. Maybe, because I mean, Magazine Dreams is like a really good film, but it's one of those films that's really good, but you probably only see it like once or so, twice. But Fight or Flight, I could easily see myself watching this again easily. So, well, I'll think about it. But to get more into spoilers, Marko Zaror, I like that he drugs Josh Hartnett, and they go into the bathroom, and he's like beating up Josh Hartnett, and he's trying because he's drugged, but he's still fending and still able to fight back. But there are times where his body kind of flops down because of the drugs. And some nice harsh hits. I like the way it ends because like the guy's trying to crush Josh Hartnett on this toilet, so he lifts the guy up, and the guy's dead. You wonder why he's dead. You realize his head fucking impaled on the sprinkler system. Okay, that's a different type of kill. I don't really see impalement by sprinkler a lot, but I liked that. I thought that was a cool death. I like the idea that he goes to the shower, and I'm like, what's he doing? He tastes like the shampoo soap, and he's like, he does that so he could puke the drug out. Okay, like I should have figured that's what he was doing, but okay, I thought that was kind of interesting. He gets in touch with the flight attendants, the man and woman, and their reactions as to what's going on, the way Josh has to talk them down and calm them down. And he's like, can I get some new clothes? So he gets new clothes. I like this bit because, not with a gun, but I've had this happen with other items. He tries to put the gun down, but it falls down through his pant leg. It comes out of his pant leg. I've had that happen where I've had other stuff that I've tried to put in my back pocket, like in the back of my pants, or even in the front, and then it falls through. I'm like, fuck, and then it goes off my leg or something. I'm like, God damn it. So, and without the gun part, that was relatable, so I thought that was pretty funny. I like that it takes him pretty quickly to find out who the ghost is, because I didn't expect that. Again, this is spoilers. He pretty quickly finds out that the female flight attendant is the ghost, a hacker. I mean, I like that it happened very quickly, because you assume, okay, it's going to be this big reveal like near the end of the film. It's, oh no, we're near the beginnings. I just thought that was a bit different. And he explains how he figured it out. You find out that the ghost, that the reason she does this hacking is because she goes after people, companies that use child labor, slave labor, child labor, to build their electronics. So she goes out of her way to attack those companies that do that. I like that idea. I thought that made things a little bit different. And then you find out that Katee Sackhoff, you're thinking they're working for FBI, CIA, but you see this wide shot where they're actually working for this, like I forget, it was like technology, communication, like that type of business. Because what they want is the ghost has this supercomputer that could hack stuff and do stuff a lot easier, a lot faster. And this company wants that for their own business ventures. And they've helped fuck over, let her picture on the dark web so people knew, and that's how they got on the plane in the first place. So I thought that was interesting. Again, I like Katee Sackhoff. She was also in that Riddick film from 2013. I liked her as an actress. I don't mind her. I think she actually has a podcast on YouTube. I've not watched a whole lot of it, but I think it is still on YouTube. I've seen clips and I thought it was pretty good. But I liked her as I see her in the movie. And the idea, I like the idea her and Josh Hartnett used to be a thing. So you have a little bit of that back and forth verbally when they're able to contact each other. And when the fight scenes happen, I thought they're fun. There's these guys, he's throwing plates at these people, using glass bottles, breaking them. One person gets stabbed in the eye, and he headbutts it and drives the thing further to kill the person. He fights three with these broken bottles, stabbing them in the neck and stuff. This is one guy he fights and he comes down and breaks the fucking guy's arm. Someone got his picture and put it to all the assassins, so now he's like, oh my god, they know who I am. So he charges in, and he's fighting all these guys and going back and forth, and punching this guy, kicking this guy, going over the seas, fighting this guy, taking this guy down, breaking this guy's neck, doing this. Again, very fun, fast, entertaining choreography. I know one friend, JCVD fan for life, he didn't like the film. Teach their own. I don't really get it, but that's fine. We now are going to like or hate the same movies. I think if you like action films, this is a very fun film with a good lead, a good number of action sequences, nice choreography in the fight scenes. I thought the humor is rather funny. I like that one of the guys is like playing the flute and he pulls out this weapon and him and Josh Hartnett are fighting. He chokes one guy with a seatbelt. There's these three kung fu ladies who the hacker chick knew. Which definitely made me think of Bullet Train because that had, what was his name? The guy who played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. What was his name? It definitely made me think of that. So, you could call this a ripoff of Bullet Train and you would not be that far off. But hell, I mean, Leviathan you could call a ripoff of Alien, but you know how much and The Thing, and you know how much I love Leviathan, so Watchers 2 could be considered a ripoff, but I love Watchers 2. What was it? Haruyuki Sanada. You had Haruyuki Sanada and some others. So it makes you wonder, okay, well here... Oh, I don't know. I was for sure made me think of that. The thing that cracked me the fuck up, that just I did not expect, is two things near the end of the film, which I loved. One is Josh Hartnett's been wounded. They patch him up, and he decides to take what he thinks is adrenaline, but it's something else. And so while the kung fu and other people are fighting, he gets up. And I love this twist because there's this girl with like these crazy pupils and she's like talking as if she's this badass and she's going to be a danger and all this other stuff. Then all of a sudden she goes like, and you see these fireworks come out of her head and Josh Hartnett's like just smiling and he's looking over and their passenger is smiling. And then it cuts to the real world. And you realize he has... I think it's like what people use for ice climbing. Or something like that. He jammed that into the assassin's head. And the blood is gushing out. So really it's not fireworks. Like it's fucking the ending of Brain Damage. The Henenlotter film. It's a geyser of blood that spits on the fucking poor passengers. But he's seen other stuff. I kind of wish that was longer because that was really cool, but I thought that was really funny. That I got a kick out of. The other bit is the very first scene in the movie. It does one of those things where it shows a scene that it goes, 12 hours before or 2 days before. Yet another film that does one of those things. But it shows the kind of chaos in the plane, and then you see someone come out with a chainsaw. Well, at the end, the hacker finds the chainsaw. It was in, like, part of the luggage. I'm like, okay, she's going to do the thing, She throws it to Josh Hartnett. And he starts it and it becomes a fucking chainsaw massacre. I did not expect this film to have a fucking chainsaw massacre on a plane, but it fucking does, because he's like jamming to this guy's stomach, he's jamming to this, and there's a shot from behind where you see kind of the cuts and the body go like this, and he's like jamming into this person, and then like there's in a bit he throws it and it goes to a guy's head. Yes, there's CG additions that I could live with because I can understand in that front, and it went by so quick. I could deal with it, and the whole scene was just such a fun idea that I got a kick out of it. I did not expect that, but I thought that was a lot of fun. Eventually, another funny bit was these assassins kill the pilots. Well, they didn't mean to, but the pilots both accidentally get killed. So the two assassins, horrified, when they come out, they see Josh Hartnett with the fucking chainsaw. They're like, yeah, they killed the pilots. And for the rest of the film, they're just, we're done. Like, they see that the pilots are dead. They see how fucking crazy Josh Hartnett is. They're like, they want anything of it. They just don't keep quiet. Something about that I thought was kind of funny too. Things work out. Josh Hartnett tells Katee Sackhoff to fuck off. I'm not going to turn her in. And it leaves room for a sequel, because the next thing is Josh Hartnett wakes up. He's in the hospital. The hacker comes in. We're not done yet. You hear explosions. And Josh Hartnett's like, fuck. Now, sadly, we're not going to get a sequel, because this film, it got some good reviews, but it didn't do anything. I don't even know if this went into theaters. If it did, it did nothing. Again, this says 2024, but I'm going to put 2025. I mean, I'm trying to see, did this even get in the theaters? Apparently it did, I think, but oh, okay. Well, this had nothing in terms of advertising, because it was in 2,100 theaters, but I never saw it around here, and it made nothing. So this had nothing in terms of advertising. Because it debuted at number 6 on Friday, number 8 by Sunday, and only made $3.5 million. And I swear, I didn't see this fucking film advertised. I didn't hear anybody talk about this film. it wasn't around here to watch. So that's a fucking shame. That's a fucking shame. Because I would love to have seen a sequel to this. I would love to have seen more with Josh Hartnett playing this type of role. Because I think he does a really good job. And this was a lot of fun. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But it was certainly my type of cup of tea. So that's a shame. Because this is definitely one of my favorite films this year. Again, not original. So there's some bits of CGI is not the best. Plot holes, I mean, it didn't bother me. I just kind of looked at it as more of just a goofy, fun time. So I was having so much fun, I could overlook certain plot holes, and it didn't bother me. See, that's the thing. If I'm having fun and being entertained, which is what a movie should do first and foremost, I can overlook it because, yes, I know not every film is perfect. Even my favorite films of all time. Aliens. I mean, the scene when Ripley is in the airlock and a queen that weighs a ton is grabbing her wannabe Reebok shoes and somehow not pulling her off into space. And then she's like 2 feet away from space because she's in the airlock, but apparently there's enough air and the suction isn't enough for her to be pulled to fit fucking space. There's no way you could survive in that shit. But it's one of my favorite films of all time, and I'm having so much fun. I can overlook that. I can overlook certain things. You know, no film is perfect, but I just want to have fun. Or something like Magazine Dreams that really made me get sucked into the character and the story, but either way. Like I said, I thought this was a lot of fun. So, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Guillermo, for the requests. Especially thank you for this request, because this and Kill, I really enjoyed both of those. So, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.